There is a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. It has nothing to do with your body. You could rest for an entire weekend, close every tab, turn off every notification, and still wake up Monday feeling hollow. Still feel like you're running on fumes that have nothing left to burn. Most people call this laziness, or burnout, or depression. But psychologists are beginning to understand that this exhaustion has a name, and it goes much deeper than any of those words can reach. You know that feeling when you're in a conversation, nodding, smiling, saying the right things, but somewhere behind your eyes, you've already left the room? Or when you look at your own life from a distance, like watching a movie you didn't choose to be in. The job is fine, the relationships are fine, everything is fine. And yet something inside you keeps whispering, is this it? People who are tired of existing don't necessarily want their lives to end. What they want is something far more specific. They want to stop performing. They want to stop pretending that the version of themselves they show the world is who they actually are. They are exhausted by the gap between who they feel inside and who they've learned they need to be to survive. And that gap, quietly and consistently, is one of the most crushing forms of human suffering. From a psychological perspective, this experience is deeply connected to what Carl Jung called the persona, the mask we construct to navigate society. Every person wears one. It's not dishonesty, it's survival. From childhood, we learn which parts of ourselves are safe to show and which ones to hide. The child who was told they were too sensitive learns to perform toughness. The child who was only praised for achievement learns to perform productivity. The child who grew up in chaos learns to perform calm. Psychologists have noticed that when the distance between the persona and the authentic self becomes too wide, the psyche begins to collapse inward. Not dramatically, quietly, like a slow leak. Research in identity formation suggests that emotional suppression doesn't make feelings disappear, it simply pushes them underground. And underground, they grow heavier. The result is a person who moves through life technically functioning, but internally running on empty. And here's what that actually feels like inside. It feels like watching everyone around you seem to want things, to chase things, to feel genuinely excited by ordinary moments, while you stand behind glass, wondering why those feelings won't come for you. It feels like replying to messages takes the same energy as climbing a mountain, like the future feels less like a horizon and more like a wall, like every social interaction leaves you more depleted than restored. There's a specific kind of loneliness that belongs to this state, the loneliness of being surrounded by people and still feeling completely, invisibly alone. Not because no one cares, but because the version of you that people know is not the version that actually needs something. And the real you, the tired one, the raw one, the one carrying years of suppressed emotions and quiet grief, has never fully been seen. Here is where it gets psychologically profound. People who are tired of existing are often not tired of life. They are tired of the life they have been living in someone else's terms. Philosopher Albert Camus wrote about the experience of waking up one day and realizing that the life you've been living no longer makes sense to you. That the routines, the roles, the expectations, they suddenly feel like a costume that doesn't fit. Psychologists call this an existential crisis, but perhaps a more honest name is an awakening. Because this kind of exhaustion is often the soul's way of saying, something has to change. Not tomorrow, not when things calm down. Now. The tiredness is not weakness, it is signal. But here's the paradox, and it's a strange one. The people who feel most tired of existing are often the ones who have been trying the hardest. They are often the high-functioning ones, the ones who show up, the ones who hold everything together, the ones other people lean on. Because they learned early that the only way to earn love and safety was through constant effort, through making themselves useful, agreeable, easy to be around. The strange part is, their exhaustion is not from doing too little. It's from doing too much of what was never truly theirs to carry. And the very strength that allowed them to function for so long is the same strength that kept them from asking for help. This connects to something attachment theory calls insecure attachment. The belief, often formed in childhood, that your needs are a burden, that love is conditional, that safety must be earned. When someone grows up in an environment where their emotional needs were dismissed, minimized, or simply never acknowledged, they learn to become emotionally self-sufficient in a way that is not actually healthy. They learn to need nothing from others. They learn to be fine, and they become extraordinary at being fine. Until one day, the performance collapses. We live in a culture that worships productivity, resilience, and forward motion. Rest is seen as weakness. Sadness is seen as a problem to solve. This leaves very little room for the kind of people who need to sit with their pain for a while, who need to be heard without being advised, who need slowness in a world that rewards speed. And so they keep going and going until the going has nothing left in it. Have you ever noticed that you can explain everyone else's pain with great compassion, but when it comes to your own, you reach immediately for judgment? Maybe you've told yourself you have no reason to feel this way, that others have it worse, that you should be grateful. Maybe you've spent years talking yourself out of your own experience, only to find that the experience simply waited quietly at the door. Here's a question worth sitting with. What would it mean to stop performing, just for a moment? To let someone see, really see, what it actually feels like to be you, right now. Not the version you edit for public consumption, not the version that is handling it, the real one. If any part of this has landed somewhere familiar inside you, I want to offer you this understanding, not as advice, but as recognition. What you are carrying is real. The exhaustion is real. The disconnection is real. And none of it makes you broken. It makes you someone who has been holding on for a very long time without enough support. Psychologists who specialize in chronic emotional exhaustion consistently find that healing doesn't begin with doing more. It begins with permission. Permission to stop performing. Permission to admit that you are not fine. Permission to want something different, even when you don't yet know what that is. The path back to yourself is not a dramatic transformation. It is a slow, tender, often uncomfortable process of learning to distinguish between who you actually are and who you are taught to be. And somewhere in that space, between who you've performed and who you've hidden, the real you is still waiting, still present, still whole. People who are tired of existing are not asking for too much. They are asking for something that has been quietly missing for a very long time. They are asking to be known, to matter without performing, to rest without guilt, to feel fully without apologizing for the feeling. And perhaps the most important thing psychology can offer us here is this. The tiredness you feel is not a verdict on your life. It is an invitation to live it differently. Not louder, not faster, but more honestly, more gently, more truly yours. Because in the end, the question was never whether your life was good enough. It was whether you were ever allowed to be fully present inside it. If something in this video made you feel less alone, even for a moment, that's exactly why this channel exists. Hit the like button if this spoke to something real in you. Subscribe if you want to keep exploring the deeper patterns of human psychology every week. And if someone you know needed to hear this today, share it with them. We'll see you in the next one.